Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. Follow us on Twitter at Boink Studios and check out our Facebook page where you can see all of our projects, past, present, and future. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy's show. Step off.
Hey, what is up? Welcome to the program, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom Clark, and you are listening to Tom Clark's Main Event. This is episode number 53 of the podcast, and if you're joining us today for the very first time, we will bid you welcome. If you're coming back for a repeat visit, we say, hey, thanks for checking back in with us. And to all of those involved, we extend to you, as always, the customary laurel and a hearty handshake. Thanks for listening. Thanks for reading. Thanks for supporting. And hey, thanks for always being there, Doc. Number 53. This is my show. What's up? Glad you are with us. It's been, not very long since the last time I came to you. Seems like I'm always apologizing for the length of time between episodes. You guys know I would do this every day if possible, right? But, life beckons, as it were, and we all get busy doing other things. But if you are not familiar with the show, a quick rundown of who we are and what we do here. We are coming to you from Boink Studios. Boink Studios, the actual brand, is a production company owned by myself and good friend Kyle Smith. You can find us online on Twitter at Boink Studios, also on Facebook at Boink Studios. You can see all of the original content that is produced by Kyle and myself. We do everything from pro wrestling, comic books, movies, TV, pop culture in general. That's what we do. Science fiction, we cover all our bases, man. We're just a couple of fanboys, adult fanboys come to life, as it were. We are the offspring of Kevin Smith, I suppose, in some weird way. But that's who we are. That's what we do. So if you've seen us around online and you've never checked us out, first of all, thanks for listening to this show. We appreciate it. But please always give us a shout. If you want to, give us some feedback. We're going to give you some information at the end of this show on how you can do just that. And please feel free to read some of the content. We do the best we can to give you the best that we can. And that's what we do. So we hope you've been enjoying the ride so far. We've had a blast doing this. This show is a lot of fun. And this is the one-man show. We do have a sister podcast, which is Tom and Kyle's Comedy Action Hour, which will be resuming shortly. I know Dude, I'll bet you I've got 20, 30 emails just in the past 2 weeks alone asking, dude, where is the next episode? Well, it's on the way. So never you fear, true believer, because we're coming back your way very soon. Okay, I promise you that. And just so you know, there is a third podcast in the works and possibly a fourth. As if we just, don't have enough to do and just have all the time in the world. But it is what it is. What can I say, man? We're hooked on this stuff. This is who we are. This is what we do. And we try to bring the best possible content each and every time out. Like I said before, I hope you're enjoying it. Okay, we're not going to waste any more time here. We got the pleasantries out of the way. Let's go ahead and get to the reason why you click play, why you click download, hopefully, and why you click subscribe. Okay? This episode, this time around, the main event is Seth Rollins, Extreme Rules, and the right perspective. Okay. So the right perspective is a bit egotistical. I get that. But, hey, what can I tell you, man? I'm a WWE analyst. I consider myself an analyst, not just a writer. So thank you very much. So you're going to get my take on it, my spin on it. We are, close to being 24 hours removed, give or take, from the event of Extreme Rules. WWE's latest foray into I want to call it a pay-per-view, but we can't really do that anymore, can we? The latest WWE Network event. What'd you think? Let's start the show by asking that little Jim, what did you think of the program, man? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I've read some reviews online, and they've been a bit harsh, to say the least. And honestly, I can see where a lot of the hate is coming from. It was not what I would consider a very strong showing. Okay, I would give the program as a whole, honestly, if I'm being straight with you, a C+. That's just me talking, and my rating system means nothing to anyone. It's just my take. If I had to be cornered on it and question, well, Tom, what'd you think of the program as a whole? That's my answer. A strong C+. The main event, however, I would classify as a strong B+, A-, and that's me being straight. The Intercontinental Championship match, was top notch. It was one of the best that I've seen, well, since the last time these guys went at it. Miz, Owens, Cesaro, Sami Zayn. So that match alone was worth the price of admission. That one's getting at least a B+, A- as well, if I'm being straight with you. So there were a couple of highlights on this show. A couple of things to be very happy about. By the way, kudos to and much respect to all the men and women of this program that got into that ring and did their business. Whether you enjoyed the matches or not, you always have to give an ovation. You always have to clap. You always have to give props to the performers in the ring, because they're the ones that are doing the work each and every time WWE is on the air, each and every time WWE is on the network in a live event. Okay, so anytime you go to a house show, anytime you go to see Raw or SmackDown Live, please give the proper respect where it's due. Maybe the chemistry wasn't there. Maybe the match was kind of a flop. Maybe the storytelling wasn't on point. You cannot sit there and hate on the talent. There is a big, big difference between myself and other writers out there. Okay, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you've only ever read my stuff, or if you've never read my stuff, I would hope that when you do read my stuff, that you can tell a difference. I checked out Twitter in the wee hours of the morning after Extreme Rules, and I was disgusted by what I read. Roman Reigns was called one moron got on. I'm name calling. How good is that? I'm criticizing this guy for calling Roman names, but here I am doing it too. So let's not do that. Let's not lower ourselves to this. Can I get one more? Just one. Let's not lower ourselves to this numbnuts opinion. Okay. Okay. I'm done. That's all I want to say. All right. So, but he got on Twitter and he called Roman Reigns trash. I'm not going to tell you who it is because I'm not going to give him any free publicity, but he's got his own YouTube show and, he thinks he's somebody, and I don't know. He's kind of a joke. And I wouldn't say that if I didn't know, but I'm familiar with his stuff and I've never been impressed. He's a shameless self-promoter, as I am, but he does it in all the wrong ways. He doesn't respect the talent. He doesn't respect the product at all, and he blasts them for all they're worth. If it's me, I try to think long term. I try to think, there's no matter if you like the characters or not, there's real people behind these characters. And to me, it's completely disrespectful to call any of these guys any sort of names. And plus, by the way, what are we, 12? Come on, you're going to take the social media name call. Dude, I've been called so many names through the years, especially when I started writing for Bleacher. And, everyone that's ever called me a name or insulted me or said my opinion was crap or whatever they want to say, more power to them, man. It's a free country, whatever. Well, let's grow up, shall we? Okay? Because he wasn't the only one that did it. I saw a bunch of... And by the way, the guys and gals that commented on that particular tweet, kudos to them because they called him out and said, dude, that's a bit harsh. And they should. People tend to get away with whatever they want to get away with on social media because they feel like there's no repercussions. And usually there's not. But grow up. Be a man. Okay? Get over yourself. I mean, swear to God. Seriously. All right? So carry yourself a little bit more pride than that. But... It like I said, it was a bit disgusting, and his wasn't the only one I read. I read several that was saying, much along the same lines. I'm going to start bouncing around here. If you've never listened to the show, this is kind of what I do, but we're going to go ahead and start with the return of Seth Rollins. We're going to go ahead and jump to the main event, and we may not cover the entire event here, if I'm being honest. We're just going to cover the highlights. If you guys watched it, and surely you did, and if you haven't, spoiler. There's some spoilers coming, so be aware and be prepared for stuff you may not want to hear. You may not want to hear it anyway, right? Depending on who you wanted to go over in each and every match or whatever. So just so you know, that's where we stand right now, okay? But let's go ahead and jump to the return of Seth Rollins. He came back at the end of the Roman Reigns, AJ Styles main event, which, by the way, was an A- in my opinion. It's hard for me to give an A to anyone, but this match... And I wrote a column that posted actually the morning of or the day of after Extreme Rules on May 23rd, depending on when you hear this, okay? and it's posted on Sportskeeda. And the headline was changed for some odd reason, which I'm okay with that. The editors can do what they want, but it didn't really get the point across. So that's why I titled the word perspective in the title of this particular show, just to get my words back into what I think here. But the whole column centers on the fanfare, the pandemonium that ensued when Seth Rollins returned at Extreme Rules. Let's get a couple of things out of the way right now. I have a lot of respect for Seth Rollins, as I do any of the competitors that step between the ropes, not just in WWE, but in TNA, Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground, which, by the way, is a fantastic show. And all the way down to local independent guys. If they're spending money on gear and boots and they're trying to look the part, and maybe they're not in the best shape, but they're working on it and they want to put on a good show, I got respect for those guys. I came up with those guys. I was in companies where Dash Wilder was coming up, okay, where and other guys along the way. I've met the old timers, the veterans, been around those guys, the old NWA legends, okay, which was one of the best times of my life, if I'm being honest with you. So I've got respect for anyone that steps between the ropes, and Seth is no different. But I also have an added level of respect for what he accomplished as the top heel. Okay, I've always been a big believer that the top heel, or excuse me, that the championship, the championship holder, the champion, should be the top guy. Now, that isn't always the case, especially not in WWE, because their top guy is the guy that can sell tickets, obviously, which is a prerequisite for being the top guy. I'm sorry, but it is. Okay. But also, who looks good on a poster? Who looks good on TV? Who has a good image? Who can turn people's heads when he walks into a room? Who has the it factor? Most important thing ever. And you didn't really hear that verbalized until WWE, because WWE was the first company to go out in public and on the air and tell everyone, hey, this is all work. Don't you guys get too excited over this. It's just make-believe, right? Let the cat out of the proverbial bag, man. Whatever. But, and they were the first company to really do that. This is all a work. And it's not really happening, this, that, and the other. So, that's a whole different topic. It's sidetracked for just a little bit. Give me a second here. But I'm a big believer in kayfabe. And kayfabe is dead in that company. Been dead for a long time. Okay? Just how it is. And we can touch on that a little bit later if we have a chance. And I can expand on that a little bit more. But you guys who have read my stuff or have listened to the show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's very frustrating stuff, to say the least. Okay? But anyway, the top guy, in my opinion, should be the best worker. And not just a face, not just an image. And WWE, for as much as it does good, it screws some things up. You want to know why? Not because we know better than that company does. Because, well, all right. The argument can be made that we don't. We're not the ones behind the scenes. We're not the ones handling the talent. We're not the ones booking the arenas. We're not the ones overseeing contracts. We're not the ones overseeing personalities, making sure everybody meshes together and you get the right crowd reactions. That's not us. But the argument, in my opinion, can be made that we do know better than WWE at times. Doesn't mean we could do it any better. But when the program fails, when a match fails, when a storyline goes nowhere, and we've been sitting there for 6 weeks saying, wow, this is terrible, and then suddenly the ratings show it, suddenly the poor crowd reactions show it, suddenly the backlash on social media proves it, that tells you something, being honest with you. But WWE has often not put the best worker in the company as the top guy in the company. And that's an extremely frustrating thing for me, just to be honest with you. But I have an added level, all that just to get to this, right? I have an added level of respect for Seth Rollins for what he accomplished as the top heel, in my opinion, at that time, best worker in the company. Now, I honestly, before Daniel made it official, Daniel Bryan, in my opinion, was the best worker, the best talent in that company, by far. Maybe not personality-wise, maybe not over John in terms of selling tickets, but the best attraction, God, the word attraction's big, yes, because of Taker, but Taker's not there, just in all due fairness. But the best hand, if you can say that, in that company, before he hung it up, was Daniel Bryan. Seth Rollins was a close number 2. Now, honestly, the floodgates have opened, man, because now you have to put in the conversation not just Seth, But AJ, you also have to talk about Sammy, Cesaro. Where does it end? Because they're bringing up more and more talent, and I love that, by the way, just to let you know. But again, added level of respect for Seth. I think he is, if he's not still the top worker in the company, he's arguably the top worker. How about that? So a lot of respect for him. I love what he does. I'm a fan of what he does. I love how he carries himself. He's a very believable heel. He's a viable heel. As we all know, you need viable heels that you can build the company on, because no one's going to give a crap about your baby faces if your heels are not believable, if they're not viable, if they're not bankable heels. And Seth Rollins and the word bankable go together hand in hand. They do. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like the Great Kabuki and the Green Mist go right together, man. You can't imagine one without the other, right? Same concept. Very bankable heel. Old school heel in a lot of ways. And that's what that company needs a lot of. And they've got Seth, they've got Kevin. So they've got some good classic heels. Miz is a classic heel, despite what people want to say about him. They want to bag on him or whatever. That's fine. Like I said, free country, man. Do what you want. But you need more bankable heels. The more solid heels you have, the better off you are as a pro wrestling company. And again, whether that's WWE, whether that's Lucha Underground, whether that's AAA, no matter who it is, the formats might be different. The presentation might be different. But at the end of the day, pro wrestling is still the eternal struggle between good versus evil, right versus wrong. Well, if the bad guys never win, if the bad guys, if they're not very credible, if they're not very believable, then who cares about the program at all? This is one of the problems that people had, just as a side note here, with John Cena as champion so many times. Because there's no drama in a babyface champion. You see what I'm saying? There's drama in the heel champion, because the entire roster full of babyfaces is chasing after him. And the drama is in the chase. The story is in the chase. When the chase ends and that babyface wins the title, no more drama. So that's one of the issues that people have had with John over the years. I think it's a lot of issues that people have with Roman even now. Not just the fact they believe Roman's been shoved down their throats, which, you've been hearing that for years, but years. I say years. It's going to be years soon. Can you imagine? Over a year we've been talking about this, and it's going to become 2 years strong. I mean, seriously, it's not going to be that long from now if you really think about it. But, matter of months, actually. But I think that's one of the problems that guys like John and Roman have, is that once they clear that obstacle and once they reach the top, there's an inevitable backlash. Now, there doesn't have to be. Austin cleared the hurdle. Shawn Michaels cleared. Of course, Shawn kind of healed out because of his personality, his ego, his arrogance, right? Which endeared him to people in some respects. But, the whole Montreal Screwjob thing happened, and it just all went to pieces after that. But, it's just, again, heels are the foundation. Let's just agree on that, can we? And Seth is one of the best heels. And as soon as he is physically back in action, which may be by the time you listen to this, he could be going strong again. I don't know. But top heel in the company. Can we agree on that? It's not Triple H. And if it is, it shouldn't be. Okay? When Randy was title holder under the Authority, he was not top heel in the company. Triple H was. That's got to stop. That's just this guy's opinion. Because there's no payoff. Triple H will work once a year, maybe twice, maybe. And there's no payoff. At the end of the day, he can fire you. Okay? When the payoff is he can fire the babyface that's making problems, then that's not a storyline. That's ridiculous. Because technically that babyface would need he would need protection in order not to lose his job. Anytime you have a heel corporate figure who is feuding with a physically active babyface full-time wrestler on the roster, the storyline is really touch and go, because what stops the heel corporate figure from firing that dude? Nothing. And that's the question. You can sit back and watch Daniel versus the Authority. You can sit back and watch Roman versus the Authority, whoever it is. And at the end of the day, you say, why don't they just fire him? If it's that big of a deal, let him go. But then there's always, one more match and I get my job back, this, that, and the other. And John speaks up for Daniel and speaks up for Punk and all this. And whatever. But just make John the corporate babyface figure and just, fix the whole thing. Whatever. But, no, when Seth comes back, he will be the top heel, and he should be. It should not be Triple H or his lovely wife, Stephanie, shrieking away as always. By the way, wasn't it nice to watch if you could take nothing away from Extreme Rules except the main event and Seth Rollins come back after the match? Wasn't it nice to watch the event without Stephanie? And all due respect to Shane, without Shane. And you know what? They didn't miss a beat, right? There wasn't a 10-minute back and forth prolonged promo in the middle of the ring. You're looking at your watch, you're looking at your cell phone going, geez, come on, dude, let's go. Promoters at the ringside tugging his ear. Take it home, boys. Oh my God, shut up, right? It's like WCW Reborn. Shut up. Stop talking all the time. Very nice. That was maybe the highlight of Extreme Rules for me. It's no corporate nonsense. That was really cool, actually. Now, I hope you heard the word heel mentioned in that whole little diatribe because I said it a whole bunch. And it bears repeating. You want to know why? Come closer. By the way, I completely stole this part from Kevin Smith's podcast. Come closer. Come closer. Seth Rollins is a heel. Got it. Seth Rollins is a heel. Seth Rollins is not a babyface. Now, by the time you listen to this particular episode, something drastic may have happened on Raw. It could have been followed up on SmackDown. Triple H could have made his comeback, and Seth gets in his face and says, I don't want to do this anymore. And he pedigrees the game himself. I don't have any idea. But I will tell you this. What you saw at Extreme Rules was not a babyface return. That was a heel return. Want to know how I know? Because Roman didn't know he was coming, for number one. Okay? And Seth snuck up on him. He snuck up on Roman Reigns. All right, babyfaces don't sneak up on their competition. There's no need to. Babyfaces prefer to do their business eye to eye, nose to nose, face to face, man to man. That's how a man would take care of business. He wouldn't clip another guy from behind. He's a coward. So Seth is a coward because he's a heel. We've established that much. That's how he returned. Okay, that's number one. Number two, there was no entrance music. Okay? You really want to make the crowd pop because it's the returning babyface. It's Triple H returning after quad surgery. It's, Stone Cold returning to face Eric Bischoff. Then, of course, you have the music. Even if all the guy does is cut a promo or have a run-in the ring, you cue the music, you play it as loud as you can, have the camera pan back to the Titantron and to the crowd and watch those people lose their minds, take their shirts off, have pagan rituals with each other in the aisleways because they just can't help it. Oh my God, this is amazing. No music for Seth. That's a very heel way to come back. Just saying. That's number two. Number three, you ready for this one? He used the pedigree. He didn't use his own move or a different finishing move because he's not using curb stomp anymore. He used the guy who's been considered to be the top heel since Seth left. He's using his finisher on Roman. Now, I'm sorry, that's a heel return. But go on Twitter, if you haven't been on there, I highly advise you do it if you can stomach it. Go on there during Extreme Rules, go back and look at the tweets, the hashtag Extreme Rules. During and after, and I'm going to tell you something right now. It is insane. It is insane how many people popped off Seth. Okay, so as I said before I started this whole thing, let me go back to it really, really quickly, just as a friendly reminder. I have all the respect in the world for Seth. I am one that's glad to see him back as well. Don't misunderstand me when I say that because I'm very glad to see him back. I am. So I can understand the pop. I can. And it makes sense. And plus, people hate the devil out of Roman. They hate Roman. Roman can baby out Charles Manson at this point. Isn't that sad? He can. He can. He could. It's the truth. You know what I'm saying? They'd let Charlie out of jail today. Really? Done. Done deal. Okay? But, he gets attacked. People pop. Because, again, it's Roman. People hate Roman. So that much I understand, too. Seth's return because he's respected, because he's loved for his commitment, for his work, for what he did before, what he's probably going to do now. They popped off that, and they popped off the fact also they haven't seen him in a long time. It's a welcome back kind of thing. But then he lays out Roman Reigns, who is hated. Okay? So I get all that. Perfectly fine. But as I said, go back and check out hashtag Extreme Rules, and you tell me what you see. Because what I see is a lot of nonsense. And the nonsense is all these crazy people out there saying stuff like, oh, well, he's going to turn face now. I saw several tweets, and I think they just mimicked each other. Maybe it was a copy and paste kind of deal, or maybe it was genuine thought, which is hard to find on social media, if I can be honest with you. But and I can't. I'm paraphrasing here, but well, good luck showing this guy's baby face after show him as a heel after he laid Roman out. Hey, hey, hey. Okay, stop. It's not just a sign at the end of the cul-de-sac anymore, is it? Not just a sign on the highway in between intersections. Stop. Just stop. You're killing me with this crap. Okay? Here's how I know you're killing me. Now, listen up. This is very important. If you don't hear anything else I say during the course of this podcast, listen to this, because it's highly important, okay? Here it is. Are you ready? Here it is. Seth Rollins didn't attack a heel. He attacked a babyface. As much as you want Roman to heel out, as much as the whole planet wants Roman to heel out, and they want him to be the top heel, they want him to turn on the fans and flip them off and screw you and that kind of thing, it's not happening. Now, before you go nuts and I get some hate mail, because I continue to get hate mail, God bless all of you out there. We'll take what we can get, okay? I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not saying it wouldn't work. I'm not saying it's not feasible to have Roman Reigns as the heel. As perhaps even, maybe, hold your breath, the top heel. No one said it wasn't possible. I never said that. Never, not one time. Okay? Just so we're clear, let's move on. In fact, here's what I am saying. Not only could it work, I think it would work and it would get over like gangbusters. This dude could become the biggest heel that you've seen in years. Straight up. Imagine, much in the same way as his cousin, The Rock, imagine the pent-up frustration and imagine all the stuff he would love to say to people like you that boo him all the time. And not just you. I'm not picking on you. Like I said, free country, boo who you want. I don't care. As long as you cheer for me, we're good. Okay? But imagine the stuff that he has that he wants to say. Imagine telling him, Roman, this is it. This is your heel promo. Go out there and cut it and let loose. Can you imagine? And the buzz has always been on Roman that they're not letting him be himself. That if you ever actually seen an interview with Roman outside of WWE, he's a genuinely good guy. And if he's not, he's working it like crazy because he comes across that way. He's down to earth. He is a family guy. He's very centered. Okay? And I'll be honest with you, none of that would play if he were a heel. But if he were a Kevin Owens type heel, which is Kevin does this odd hybrid thing of, I'm a family man, but I hate every one of you. I'm doing this for the money, but yet I run from a fight. I don't understand that. But if they could take that and tweak it and give it to Roman, then Roman could take that thing and make something with it. I'm not going to lie to you right now. I think it'd be huge. So I know, again, repeating myself for God knows how many times now, I'm not suggesting it can't happen. I'm suggesting that it would be awesome for it to happen. What I am saying is it's not happening right now. Okay? Now again, by the time you hear this particular show, maybe something has happened. Maybe Roman did come out on Raw or SmackDown or whatever and cut the massive heel promo of a lifetime. And he's healed out. He shook Triple H's hand and Seth turned face. And, it's all gone topsy-turvy. It's Bizarro World on WWE programming now. Hey, look out. Okay? But in my opinion, as of this very recording at this very moment in time, I don't see it happening. Do you want to know why? It has nothing to do with whether or not I want it to. I just discussed with you that I would like to see it happen. But we're talking about a company that for over 10 years strong refuses to turn John Cena. And they've waited so long that now you can't turn John Cena. And for anybody out there who says, never say can't pro wrestling, Tom, you're wrong. Okay, fine, whatever. Never say never, right? I'll bite. I'll go with that. But it's been a long time. We've seen John Cena with sick kids more than we've seen him, with anyone else. I mean, truly, maybe more than we've seen him in the ring. And all due respect to those kids and their families. Not to bag on anybody. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Understand. But the way that John's always been presented is, he is Captain America. And I like Captain America. Don't anybody crap on that. I've called him Captain America in columns before and called heat for it. It's a compliment in my opinion. Maybe not the way WWE presents him, but it's a compliment when I write it. And I'm just being honest with you, man. He's Captain America for that company. He can do no wrong. And any mistakes he does make are mistakes in judgment, but it's not bad judgment. It's just misinformed judgment. It's just simple mistakes that any person can make. That's what it is. Okay? And he always, at the end of the day, ends up doing the right thing. That's what Captain America is, and that's what John Cena is. But they've waited too long to turn him heel. In my opinion, the best time to have turned John Cena heel was during CM Punk in the Summer of Punk. During CM Punk's rise. That was the absolute best time to turn John, because it could have been John coming out saying, "You guys are cheering for him. I've been here for you the whole time. He used to hate you. He hated you. He came out and he cut the pipe bomb promo Monday Night Raw, and he insulted you. Said you were part of the problem. I've been here for you the whole time, and you hate me for it?" He had an opportunity to go heel, and they didn't let him do it, or didn't want him to do it, and that's fine. But in my opinion, the time has passed. Is Roman going to become John Cena? God, I hate saying this, dude. Is he legit going to become John Cena Part 2, in as much as they will not allow his character to evolve? His character is doomed to remain static for the entire time he works for this company. Think about that for a second. How many times have you ever read a book where the character is the exact same on page 100 as he is on page 300? What kind of a boring novel is that? Who wants to read that stuff? A guy has to go through turmoil. He has to go through things. No one is perfect. None of us are. We have all made mistakes. Yes? Right? Some of us have become better people for our mistakes and for our trials and tribulations. Some of us become maybe worse people than what we were. Maybe we're living lives we want. Maybe we're living lives we don't want. Maybe it's because we've done something wrong. Maybe it's because something's been done wrong to us and we didn't react the proper way and grew up and got over it. But whatever it is, the choice is in your hands. John Cena always makes the right choice. Every single stinking time. And that is not believable. It's never been believable. And guess who else is doing it now? Roman Reigns is doing it now. It's the truth. It's insane to me. And that's part of the reason why Roman's always going to be hated. Okay? But WWE is insisting, as they have for, like I said, over a year now. They're insisting on portraying Roman as the ultimate babyface. And as long as that, and don't get me wrong, he has an edge that John doesn't have, all due respect. Just to be fair, he has an edge that John doesn't have, if I'm being straight with you. But he's still a strong babyface in terms of how the company portrays him. Maybe not how he's received. But, he never took the low road with AJ. He never cheated or anything like that until it looked like AJ was going to do it to him. The AJ versus Roman feud was nothing but misdirection. It was nothing but sleight of hand. Wrong place, wrong time. I didn't see how it was pulled off. I didn't see this. Well, why do you have a chair? And bam, they went crazy on each other. You see what I'm saying? But you can't classify AJ or Roman as being the heel, in my opinion, at all during their rivalry. I just don't see it. And by the way, as a small caveat to what we're talking about right now and how people react, people have lost their minds over AJ losing to Roman Reigns. Did you expect another outcome? And this is not coming from somebody that hates Roman. I like Roman. But did you really expect another outcome? Did you expect that AJ Styles was going to walk in to Extreme Rules and walk out as the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion? Did you really think that? Because if you did, shame on you. You're out of your mind. Because at the end of the day, despite how talented AJ is, and my God, he's super talented. We knew that when he was a jobber in WCW, and we know that now. He's only gotten better. He has followed the path of what a pro wrestler wants to follow, the type of path a guy wants to follow when he gets in this business. He got better. He worked guys better than him, and he improved as a result of it. He learned his craft. He learned ring psychology. He learned the mic. He learned everything it takes to get over, despite who he's working, despite what storyline he's in, despite what company he's in that may or may not be holding him back. AJ found a way to rise above it all and to overcome and to become his own unique attraction. That's why he got work in WWE. That's why he'll get work anywhere he wants when he leaves WWE. And he will eventually. He's not going to be a lifer. Can I be honest with you? If it were up to me, I would tell AJ to finish his career in WWE. I'd like to see him retire as a member of the Hall of Fame. That's just me talking. But you have to remember who you're talking about here at the end of the day. There's an ego, an underlying ego that exists in WWE. And if I'm so wrong, then prove me wrong. Okay? CM Punk was an aberration. Daniel Bryan was an aberration. Okay? At the end of the day, if you look at both their individual cases, did they both climb the mountaintop? Yes, they did. But at any given time, were either one of those guys considered the top guy? No, they were not. And evidently, from what I understand, from what I've always read, there were never plans to make either one of them the top guy. They were going to become a main event star, not the top guy. Punk had it in him to be the top guy of that company, and I stick by that to my dying day. He does too, and he should. Daniel Bryan had the ability to do the same also, but they didn't want him there. And do not misunderstand me. Again, no freaking hate mail here, folks. I'm not suggesting that they said that out of malice. I'm not suggesting they said that out of any kind of hate for Daniel. I think the majority, screw the majority, everyone in that company, from the people that cut the paychecks all the way down to the guys that set up the ring, probably loved Daniel, and everybody in between, including the McMahon family, including Triple H and Stephanie, absolutely loved him. What's there not to love about Daniel? A hard worker that keeps his head down and finds a way to connect to the crowd and can put butts in seats. If you're a promoter, you love Daniel Bryan. If you're a fan, you obviously love him. But if you're a promoter, you're in love with Daniel Bryan. Take that dude out to dinner. Buy him roses. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Seriously. So I'm not suggesting there's any, again, no malice toward Daniel Bryan. But quite simply put, Daniel Bryan was not built by WWE. He did not roll off their assembly line. Okay? Neither did Punk, and neither did AJ. Guess who did? John. Roman. Now you could go back, you can make the case for Stone Cold. And say, well, Tom, Stone Cold didn't roll off WWE's assembly line. No, he didn't. You're right. But the Stone Cold Steve Austin you saw in WWE looked nothing like the Steve Austin that performed in WCW. Two different guys. They sounded the same, but they looked the same. They might both have been heel at one time, but different edge to their heel personalities. He became a different person. He became himself with the volume turned way up. No more of this Hollywood blonde stuff. I never liked that gimmick. Can I just be honest with you? I never liked it. I never popped off that. Never. Not even in hate as a fan when I was growing up watching. Not one time. Just saying. Stone Cold he is an aberration. Absolutely. He's the difference. There's talents like Stone Cold only come along once in a lifetime. Honestly. Because Stone Cold would have risen to the top. They opened the right doors, and what doors that weren't open, he kicked them open. The fans insisted that he kicked them open, and he did. And he became a mega, so he's still a mega star. For any of you out there that don't believe that, you're wrong. He is still a mega star. Stone Cold could walk on any TV show right now on your network dial or on cable. And I guarantee you, the majority of people watching at home, not all, but a great number of those people would say, I know that guy from somewhere. If they don't know him, that guy, dude, he's somebody. Where do I know him from? I've seen him somewhere. Do you see what I'm saying? Because he's that memorable. He's different. So don't misquote me here. I'm not saying it can't happen. He was a WCW guy. But, dude, when they saw the amount of money he could make and the amount of seats he could fill, they ran with it. Okay? I don't know that Punk or Bryan were selling out arenas the way Austin was. Now, apples to oranges, I get that. No disrespect to either Bryan or Punk. I still think that Punk got a raw deal, and I'll always believe that. And I don't think Bryan got enough of a deal to begin with. Just saying. But AJ, in my opinion, falls into this category where if he ever does win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, it's going to be with help, in my opinion, and he'll hold it till the next event. Now, again, no hate mail. It's like 3 times I said it. I'm just asking. That's all. I'm not suggesting I like this. I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm not saying he shouldn't do it. I'd love to see AJ wear the belt right now. I would. But you have to look at the bigger picture. You got to look at the way WWE's looking at it. Okay? From the perspective of selling tickets. But again, I will say to you this. There is an underlying ego that exists in WWE. And that ego at one point, and still is, against WCW. I think that is now against TNA. I'm just being straight with you, man. I think that there is more attention paid to the immediate, God, I say, you can't really call TNA immediate competition anymore. Could you ever really call them competition to begin with? Just be straight about it, man. I don't think you can. I don't think you ever could. But I think there's more attention being paid to these other companies than WWE would ever let on, they would ever admit to anyone, you or me or anybody else. That's the truth. And I don't think that they want a guy that was TNA World Heavyweight Champion to be WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I'm just throwing it out there to you. And, there's still a bias against WCW. Go look at Sting. I'm not going to get into all that right now. We've talked about it before. Maybe we'll do a special at one point where we look back on Sting's career or something. That'd be nice, right? But I think there's a reason why he lost to Hunter, why he lost to Seth, because in WWE's mind, he's not our guy. We'll give him all the video packages in the world, talk about his career and respect him in front of the fans, but at the end of the day, he's not our guy. He's not our guy. We didn't build him. He didn't come from us. His legend wasn't born here. It didn't grow here. It wasn't manufactured here. He's not one of us. Now, again, am I suggesting anyone at WWE had any hate towards Sting, anything personal? Absolutely not. Of all the interviews through the past 20 some odd years I've ever read about or with Sting, about talents that know him or have worked him in the past, about guys that know him on a personal level or with the man himself, I've never read anything negative in terms of his personality, how he gets along with the boys, how he carries himself, whether or not he's a professional. I just don't. I never have. So I'm saying that to you right now in all fairness, is that I don't think there's an animosity toward Sting, just like I don't think there's an animosity toward AJ. But again, there is an underlying ego, an underlying desire to not put those guys where the fans would like to see them be. And I'm just putting it to you like that. And that's how I've always looked at it. And if I'm so wrong, then tell me why it keeps happening. Explain that to me. Tell me if I'm so wrong, why does it keep happening the way it happens? Okay? Honestly, I'd love to hear your answer for that. Seriously. I'll tell you later how you can tell me. But, so for anyone that expected AJ to walk out the championship, you're crazy. You're crazy. But second, in addition to all that, who in the world expected AJ or the match to end in some kind of blowout? It was Extreme Rules. Anything goes, yes? It didn't matter. So there wasn't going to be like some kind of crazy non-finish. Fans don't like... I like a finish. I like an ending. A match needs a good solid beginning, a good solid middle, and a great end. And it may not be an end I'm happy with, but in my opinion, you need a 3-counter submission. I don't like countouts. You know what I'm saying? I just don't like Broadways. I don't like that stuff. I get in small doses it makes sense and it works. I like a finish. And again, I might be one of the guys sitting there agreeing with you saying, God, dude, he shouldn't have won. But that's my take. You know what I'm saying? That's how it hits me at the time as a fan, as an analyst, as a writer, as whatever I am at that moment. As all those combined, actually. Okay, just being honest with you. But so I knew this match was going to end, and I said it when the match was announced the night after Payback. I said they're going to work again at Extreme Rules, and Roman's going to pin AJ again. I knew he would, and then we all knew he would. Well, not all of us, as evidenced on the Twitter machine. Because again, people went nuts. Okay, people went nuts. But back to Roman here, folks. Again, he is what they want. He's not what they want. He's who they want in their top babyface. Now, John's not yet come back as of this recording. John's still the top guy. And he's babyface, which means John is, by default, the top babyface because the company says so. Maybe not because it's what you want. But I got news for you. It doesn't matter what you want. You would think it does, right? You would think it matters what we all want, because at the end of the day, we're the ones buying the tickets, we're the ones watching the TV, we're the ones buying the merch on WWE Shop, we're the ones watching the network and paying for the network. But no, it doesn't really matter. What matters is what the boss wants, what the boss chooses to hand down to WWE Creative, what they discuss, what they decide is best for business, as it were. Oh God, how sick are you of that phrase? I hate it. I just use it. Isn't that terrible? But that's where I'm at right now. I'm just being straight with you, man. That's where I'm at right now. And as long as all that remains the case, Seth is not turning face. Okay, so everyone calm down. I know you love to see him back. I enjoyed seeing him back too. I was one of the guys that said, God, I'm glad it finally happened. Good for him. Glad he's healthy. Glad to see him back. Keep it in perspective, people. He's not going to come back and dethrone Roman, and Roman's going to get knocked down to the curtain jerk or thrown out of the company. That will not happen. If a guy's doing everything he can to get over, he's following direction, he's making the best of his time every time he's on camera, how can you punish a guy for that? Guess what? You shouldn't. Because if Roman were Daniel Bryan and he couldn't get over but you respected him, you wouldn't want to see him shoved out of the spotlight. I wouldn't either. So why do you want Roman shoved out? Oh, he's shoved out a third time. God, get over yourself. Stop. Hate him if you want to. I don't care. But stop it. This is WWE we're dealing with here. Stop. Don't you understand? It's a publicly traded company. But they don't answer to the public. They don't. So stop. Because they don't care what you think. Much in the same vein, I should say, as people get upset over the WWE Hall of Fame, it's the WWE Hall of Fame. It's not the People's Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, established by pro wrestling fans and voted on by pro wrestling fans throughout the entire world. It's not today, not ever. WWE's Hall of Fame is decided basically at the end of the day. One guy has to shake his head yes, nod his head yes, shake his head no. I'm being serious, and that's Vince, and that's it. He's the one that says yes or no. Despite what you've done, how many titles you won, how many matches you headlined, how many countries you bled in, doesn't make a difference. He's the one that makes the final call. So stop getting upset over it. If you're that upset, then watch other matches. Don't watch Roman's matches. If it doesn't mean anything to you. I'm not going to be one of those guys to tell you to change the channel because that's silly. It's not going to happen. If you're a pro wrestling fan, you don't want to change the channel. I'm not saying there's not other stuff to watch, but there's enough good talent at WWE that if you don't like one guy, they got 5 other guys you might love on any given program. Can we all agree on that one at least? That's what I think. Okay, so we covered Seth. We covered just a hair bit of Extreme Rules. Hardly not much at all. The women's match, really quickly, disappointed me. I didn't care for it. I'm getting ready to throw some hate in Italian. Remember what I said earlier about not disrespecting the performers? Let me preface what I'm going to say with this. This is no disrespect intended to Natty Neidhart. I like Natty Neidhart. I think she's the best female talent in that company, by far. And no disrespect by calling her female either. Just saying. She is, in that division, the women's division, she's the best talent by far. She's the most credible. She's the best. Her training comes through. She has great ring psychology. She's the best. But Natty has been pushed around. Not pushed around. There is nothing about Natty Neidhart when I look at her that says winner. Not one single solitary thing. And this is coming from a guy that knows that the business is orchestrated. This is not a legitimate win-loss competition. I know that. But there's nothing about Natty Neidhart that says winner to me. She's being used to boost Charlotte, and that's her role here. Okay? You can't do what they've done to Natty and then expect me to believe that she's a world title contender. It will not happen. I don't believe it. Until I get some further evidence, till I get word from that company on some level, so-and-so, we have inside source, and it's verified. I'm not talking about copy and paste. I'm talking about verified by credible news sources. Hey, she's in, something big's coming up for her. They really want to put her back in the game. Until I hear that, I don't believe any of it. I don't believe a word of it. It's crap. It is all crap. When I look at Natty, I see someone they just threw to Charlotte. I wasn't excited about this match. I didn't care about it. So when the end happened and it was a screw job, I didn't care about that either. I didn't care about it. The strutting at the end of the match, terrible. Oh, stop. It's kind of like mocking Flair. Just terrible. I didn't like it at all. Dana Brooke. Yes? My apologies if I got the first name wrong. I didn't, did I? And again, I've seen her in the ring. I like her as a talent somewhat, but she's not hitting me the right way. She's missing something, in my opinion. And maybe this is just me talking. Maybe they'll pair up with Charlotte and try to get her over. But stop strutting. It's ridiculous. And It didn't feel right. And, again, I couldn't be that upset because at the same time, like I said before, I wasn't looking forward to this match at all, so I didn't really care. Just saying. Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho was a train wreck of sorts because of the crowd. The crowd didn't care. They were silent through a lot of this match. In fact, I was dreading the moment when they started chanting the word boring. I was like, God, please don't let them do that. Please don't let that happen. These guys deserve so much more than that. They popped off the ending with the thumbtacks because thumbtacks get a pop every single time. And they should, because it's a throwback to the Attitude Era, and it's an extreme way, no pun intended, to end a match or whatever. And I get that. But I like Dean a lot, but I've always thought that Dean is just one fantastic promo away from being a true main event, absolute, can't wait to see him, pay to see him, drive 2 hours away to the next town to see him, superstar. I don't think he's that right now. I think that Dean is always one promo away from getting it right. I've heard Dean come promo after promo after promo where it was really, really good, and then the payoff at the end was terrible. It was complete crap because he didn't follow up. He didn't give that last killer instinct. Does he have the killer instinct? I've questioned that before on this very program. That last punchline, that last jab to the mouth to make you go, oh, that was awesome. He doesn't do that. Punk did that. Flair did it. Dusty did it. Triple H could do it. But I don't know if Dean has it, just being honest with you. And I hope if he doesn't have it, I hope that he finds it because I want him to be somebody. I got a lot of respect for Jericho. The guys the match itself was well worked. I have to be honest with you, though. There was a lot of wrestling, which you never hear me complain about that, but this was in a cage. Here's the problem. When you're in the PG era and you can't get color, when you can't get color and you're in a steel cage, you can't use the steel cage all that much. So what do you have to do? You have to actually physically wrestle the match. This is what they did. So I get why they did, but in my opinion, it started to take away from the realism that was the cage match. But we all knew that was going to happen. Anytime a cage match happens in that company, none of us expect anything major because they can't do anything major. So there you go. Just me talking. Like I said before, we're not going to cover every match here. I don't know where Gallows and Anderson go after this. Again, by the time you hear this, something major might have happened. Who knows? They should be this generation's APA, and they're not. Hopefully this thing with AJ is over, and they either continue to run with AJ as a threesome or, as a trio, or they stop and they go on their own and go dominate the tag team division. I still believe Gallows and Anderson could have a massive feud with New Day, and that thing be entertaining and get over like crazy, just like wildfire. Unreal. Don't know if it's going to happen. We'll just have to wait. Stay tuned for that one, folks. Yes? One more thing before we go here, because we're getting ready to take it home. I got to talk about this for a minute or two here. Cody Rhodes. And the shocker of the week thus far, Cody Rhodes asked for and received his release from WWE. He released a statement on Twitter, a two-part statement that I've seen so far, in which he gave all due respect to Triple H and Vince McMahon, said he had no problem with them. And very smart business on Cody's part, because you don't take to social media and burn the boss that you just left, because roads in this business they can be very short. And you never know when you're going to end up back going somewhere. Or, in other words, what I'm saying to you is, don't burn your bridges. And that's smart life advice. That's not just pro wrestling advice. Don't burn your bridges. Cody's a smart guy. So is Dustin. Very smart. So he didn't do that. What he did criticize were the head writers of both Raw and SmackDown, which he would not name. And basically gave the same sort of story that a lot of other guys have given over the years. Zack Ryder, Damian Sandow, for that matter. Other guys along this time over the past several years or so. Same story. Is that I'm coming up with ideas. I'm trying to use them as sounding boards. I'm trying to get my foot in the door. I'm trying to get on TV to prove them I can do it. They're not using me. They're not going to do it for me. They're not listening. They've got their minds elsewhere. Okay. Cody went so far as to say that one of the head writers was too busy, and I'm paraphrasing here, folks, too busy hitting on the divas, I think he said. Something to that effect. I don't want to see Cody go, but I'm going to tell you this right now. For a guy as smart as Cody is, and apparently he's not hurting for money, he made one of the comments he made in his statement was that it wasn't about the money. Good for him. I hope financially he's good. so he doesn't have to come crawling back or running back to WWE for whatever reason. Because the Stardust character worked. It worked. It worked very well for 20 minutes. And then when Dusty passed away, Stardust should have ended. Should have ended right there. It should have stopped right there. He should have come back. And no disrespect, because if anyone knows me, they know that Dusty Rhodes was my father figure. He was. I've done podcasts on him before. I've written many columns about Dust. And to this day, he will always be my second father figure, for sure. But I think they could have used the situation at the time, and Cody deserved it. Take Cody out of the paint, put him back in the ring as Cody Rhodes, and let him run with it. And not to capitalize on Dusty's passing. I'm not suggesting that. But let Cody handle it however he wanted to. Say, look, your dad's gone, and I want you to take some time. Take however much time you need. When you come back, let's talk about what you want to do. What do you want to do? But instead, it's kind of like they told him, you're putting the paint back on, and he wanted to get out of it, and they said no. And I'm like, what? Really? Like, all due respect, again, I'm not trying to suggest anything bad or ill-natured here, but they let Randy Orton get in the middle of the ring and badmouth the late Eddie Guerrero. And people went, remember when people went nuts over that? And why did he do it? Why did he do it? To get Rey Mysterio over. And it worked. Because who wouldn't want to see Randy get punched in the mouth after saying that kind of stuff? Well, Rey was the one that punched him. Made perfect sense. I'm not saying use tragedy, but when it's all in the same company, it's a self-contained situation, and one guy can benefit from it, and everyone involved, including the family, is okay with it, and it's their decision anyway, not yours or mine, then why not do it? And you know what? If there's some pushback on any level inside the family or whatever, the guy himself doesn't want to do it, then don't do it. It's fine. You see what I'm saying? The comments that Charlotte had about, she brought up her brother, and Rick came out, in an interview later and said he hated it, said he got upset. Well, then maybe all that should have been discussed with Rick to begin with. I'm not suggesting it wasn't. I'm not even suggesting that maybe he didn't sign off on it at some point and then change his mind when he heard it. I don't know what the details are. Don't know. Don't care. But as long as everyone's on board, then why not use it? But Cody's a smart guy, as I said before. He's talented. Hopefully he's financially secure and he can go do some other things now. He and Stephen Amell, from all reports that I've read, are maybe closer than just casual friends. Stephen Amell is killing it in the Berlanti-verse right now, which we've discussed at length on Tom and Kyle's Comedy Action Hour, and we'll continue to do so, by the way. But Stephen Amell is Arrow, and, calling up Cody, dude, I'll get you on the guest spot. Let's get you on the show. And where could he go from there? If he were a villain, he could show up on that. He could show up on Flash, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow. It could be anywhere. I'm not suggesting that's where he's going. I'm saying that he has options now. So, all the best to Cody. I'd like to see Cody back in a wrestling ring, which is the point he made, is that he's a wrestler and that's what he's going to do. He's going to wrestle somewhere. Something to that effect is what he said. So, that's not a threat to WWE or anybody else. That's just him stating the facts, what's in his heart. I say go for it. Hope to see Cody back in the ring very soon. That's about all we got here, folks. That was a fairly quick hour, it feels like. Can I just tell you right now, I've tried to do this a few times. False starts, as it were. The third podcast I discussed earlier, I'm not going to give it away, but let's say we've tried it twice, and because of various technical difficulties and situations out of our control, we couldn't finish. So, you'll be hearing more about that to come. We'll see. All right, listen, before we get out of here, I'm going to give you some more information like I did earlier on. We'll talk about that a little bit here real quick before we go, if it's okay with you. You can find me on Bleacher Report. You can find my columns on Sportskeeda. You can find me on the highly esteemed Camel Clutch blog. And yes, I had to say highly esteemed every time because it's just that good. You can also find me on my own blog, tomcartbr.wix.com/blog. As far as the Boink Studios information, we are on Twitter at Boink Studios. You can also find us on Facebook, and the Boink Studios website is tomcartbr.wix.com/boink. All the material on that website is written by yours truly. All the artwork on that website is done by Mr. Kyle Smith. The music you heard on this podcast, as well as the music you hear on Tom and Kyle's Comedy Action Hour, is done by Philip Fender. He's also part of Boink Studios, another contributor. If you would like to use either Kyle or Philip, I was getting ready to call him Goose because that's how we know him, as Goose Fender, by the way. Known him like that for years, man. That's who he is. But an amazing musician, by the way. Very good at what he does. We have a little bit of everything here, right? But if you're interested in getting some freelance work, if you need some music, if you need some artwork, please feel free to drop us a line, boinkstudios@yahoo.com. If you'd like to send me any questions or whatever you have, just hit me up, tomclarkbr@yahoo.com. I will answer your email, I promise you that. Follow me on Twitter at tomclarkbr. I think we've plugged everything, man. That's pretty good stuff, right? We've always got new projects on the horizon. We've got things coming up we want to work on that we're talking about. We've got, like I said before, another episode, a brand new episode of Tom and Kyle's Comedy Action Hour coming your way very soon. Please stay tuned for that. And we will be back for the main event for episode number 54 very soon. I do promise you that. Listen, guys, thanks again for tuning in. Thanks again for downloading. Thank you again for subscribing. Thanks for giving us a shot. And we do hope that you come back to listen to us next time around. Thanks for your support. Thanks for all you do for us. And we will see you next time on Tom Clark's Main Event.